The Axis of Resistance is a network of mostly non-state actors that have aligned with Iran and that receive military, economic, and political support from Tehran. The Axis has expanded globally. It includes groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Hamas in Palestine, and several militia groups operating in Iraq, and a few others in the Gulf and other regions. The members of the Axis have their own domestic political agendas that they want to achieve in the countries that they operate in. They have aligned with Iran because they see Iran as the best chance to further their local agenda. Iran has a global or regional agenda for frustrating the US and Israel, as well as Saudi Arabia. As long as those interests between the militant groups and Iran are aligned, they can work together quite well and very effectively. Iran has used the Axis to expand its influence across the region really in the last quarter century. But that alignment is not always perfect, and these groups have found at times that working with Iran comes with a cost. It comes with a cost domestically in terms of their legitimacy. It comes at a cost with their ability to win elections. Sometimes it comes with a cost militarily, where they carry out attacks on behalf of Iran and suffer the military consequences as a result. Okay. Proxy warfare is about shifting cost. The sponsor, like Iran, wants to shift costs onto its agent. The agents want to receive their sponsor's help, material support, economic support, military support, but they want to use that help for their own agendas. Iran support has caused some of the Axis members to become more thuggish and less compromising. But these groups still have their own agendas and political commitments. Theirs is a local game. Israel right now has been punishing both Iran and the members of the Axis in the hopes of trying to force them into cowing them into submission. We've seen in the past, though, that these groups have not given up just in the face of military power. They have faced overwhelming military force and still managed to endure. It does, though, open up an opportunity for diplomatic engagement, which the US and some of its regional partners might lead, that could provide an incentive for groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and even the Houthis to peel away from Iran. The situation in Gaza is a humanitarian catastrophe. Israel is continuing to fight in Gaza in the hopes of finding nearly 100 missing hostages. Hamas has refused to back down in the past year, and civilians in Gaza are trapped in the fighting. Israel has had minimal concern for humanitarian conditions, and Hamas has not seen to it to make a political deal that might alleviate the humanitarian catastrophe either. This is, I think, we have to analyze this as a separate issue from the war overall. Israel has turned its attentions to Lebanon and to Syria, and at the same time that it's fighting in Gaza. It's not clear where the end will be. But it's certain, though, that the people in Gaza are suffering because of it. I think first, we know that political instability in the Middle East can have ramifications for the United States. It can have economic ramifications, mostly through the cost of oil and other commodities that we buy from the Middle East. Second, it can create political grievances and instability that have in the past led to terrorism. Third, because the U.S. government is deeply involved in these conflicts. American weapons are being used. It's American funding that's being used to conduct these campaigns. And American people should have a say over how those weapons are being used. Fourth, the U.S. has its own alliances, and maintaining those alliances, maintaining U.S. standing in the region is quite important. And finally, and this is probably the most important reason, is that people are suffering. They're suffering in every country of the region. And the U.S. leadership in the world depends on its ability to address and mitigate those kinds of catastrophes.